And we are live with our last Keeg Talks episode of the year. This is the Keeg Talks Best of 2023. It's episode 32 of season 9. And, we're finishing this off with a 2023 retrospective. I am your host, Dimithri Perera, and if you're watching us live, you're watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show or youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from. Let me introduce my two guests who, weirdly enough, have never been on an episode together, but they've been on multiple episodes across this season, past seasons. First, we got Miss Marauder herself, Sara Zitney. Sarah, what's up?
Hello.
Thanks for jumping on this one.
Thank you. I still have my Christmas hair.
Yeah.
I don't know what my New Year's hair will be, but
there's such a comic book deep cut. His name is I think what's his name? It's Triathlon or 3D Man, and he has like a red and green color scheme. I don't know whether he's look upable, but that's what I think of when I see your hair.
Okay, noted.
He has the power of 3 men.
Oh,
3 men.
That's so specific.
Very specific.
His name is Triathlon. Well, it was Triathlon, and then it's 3D Man now, I think. But,
That name's not better. I think Triathlon sounds better.
Yeah, he also got the added power of, like, seeing whether Skrulls were, or, like, people were Skrulls or not. Like, he could see somebody's true form. I don't know. It's Marvel. He's an old character made new again, so I don't know exactly. But Sarah, I'm glad to have you on.
Happy to be here.
Last time I had you was Loki season 2, right? Was that the episode?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, you got to do the Loki one.
I don't know whether your thoughts have changed since.
I took an egregious amount of notes. I rewatched, speed ran the entire season, and wrote notes on each.
You did. You're a big notes person too, right?
I am. I'm a big note taker.
Yeah, that's what it's called. A note person, right?
Yeah, note person.
Well, I'm glad to have you on the show. We also got Cailin Dorothy, comics by Cailin, who I'm also glad to have on the show. I can't say it for one and not for the other, or vice versa. Even if it's both true, I have to say it out loud so it's, put on the show.
We secretly hate each other.
Oh yeah, that's why, this whole time, Cailin and Sarah have been beefing off camera. Yeah. And
I have a secret Instagram account.
Just send each other hate.
Yeah, it's but I'm gonna put you on the show today and see how you guys do, and hopefully you guys make amends going into 2024.
We're gonna bury the hatchet.
Yeah. Here's a question. I mean, we're here. Okay, yeah, sure. We're here to talk about the things that came out this year and whatnot, but also just in general, did you guys have a good 2023? Was it good? Was it bad? Was it meh?
I had a good year. I like to think I had a good year. I mean, obviously, every year's gonna have its ups and its downs, but I feel like even I had a lot of ups. I had a lot of really great things happen, and then even the stuff that wasn't so great, I kind of got over the hill.
Yeah.
And found a silver lining, or I'm in the process of making it better.
Yeah. I mean, that's good. Sarah.
Yeah, I feel the same. I feel like, there was definitely bummer things that happened, but I feel like I did a good job of navigating them for the most part. But yeah, got a lot done, made a lot of cosplays, went to a lot of conventions. Had a lot of good times. Yeah, it was pretty good.
This was definitely the year I went to the most conventions, and I met the most people. And
how many conventions did you go to this year, Cailin?
I went to 3, which I know doesn't seem like a lot, but for me it's a lot, considering in the past I've only ever, but especially since last year I did 2. I went to Terrificon and New York Comic Con, but both of those I only did 1 day each. This year I did all 3 days at Chicago, which was my first time going to Chicago, or C2E2. I only did 1 day at Terrificon, but that's a small con. You don't need to do more than 1 day.
Yeah.
And New York Comic Con, I did all 4 days.
I mean,
which is insane.
That's my hot take. Is 4 days is too long. I don't think 4-day cons should exist. I think 3-day cons.
I don't know if I would. I'm trying to. I want to do it again because I don't want FOMO.
Yeah.
But it was a lot. I will tell you, next year at New York Comic Con, I am not debuting 4 brand new cosplays.
See, that's
where I really went wrong.
Debut 2
that was
new
where I went wrong.
2 new cosplays, 1 old cosplay, and 1 like casual sweats.
No, I mean, I honestly,
cosplay.
I have like a very I have a bit more of a lax cosplay plan for the year. It's a lot more like intensive like making, but I don't have like 1,000 cosplays I plan to make or buy or whatever.
Yeah. Well, first things first, 3 cons is a lot. Most people outside of Southern California get 1 if they're lucky, maybe 2 in their area. You got to travel out for the 3rd, right?
I mean, I'm lucky because I'm near New York.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
It was easy. Like I was able to just take the train in and out of the city each day. Although next year I think I'm going to get a hotel.
Yeah.
Getting a hotel for cons changed my life.
Especially
both my bank account, but yeah. When you have a
I still have to get my housing for Chicago.
I'm working on that. I'm going to be back in Chicago for C2E2.
Wait, same.
I have a big plan to hit a couple of cons, a good amount of cons for 2024.
You should come to New York.
I am looking at New York. New York is one of my tops. But I did get the 4-day pass plus preview night for San Diego. So
oh wow,
I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna be living.
That's exciting. That's a goal for me. I'd like to go to San Diego someday. But 2024 is not the year for that. I have a crazy 2024.
And it's too late now for 2024.
Well, yeah, no, but I purposely was like, I'm not even gonna try. I have a bunch of weddings next year.
You're getting married multiple times? Ooh,
I am.
Progressive.
Congratulations.
So many.
Multiple husbands.
No, I have a bunch of my friends. A bunch of my friends are getting married.
Yeah.
And I'm a bridesmaid in I'm a bridesmaid in one of them. I have another friend getting married, but I don't think that's happening until 25, and I'm a bridesmaid for that.
Yeah.
My family's already booked a vacation. Plus I have cons booked. It's a lot.
You get a lot. I get
it.
A lot. Sarah, how many cons are you going to in 2024?
I don't know. So we are definitely going to Anime Los Angeles, which is next weekend. Definitely WonderCon and definitely San Diego Comic-Con. We always do LA Comic-Con. And we'll probably do at least a couple days of Anime Expo. So there's at least 5. We went to 11 this year.
That's a lot. That
is a lot.
That is
a lot. Back my 3.
If you look at but what I have discovered is that since my daughter has gotten me into anime, we started doing anime cosplay in Southern California. There's an anime convention every other weekend. Like genuinely,
nice.
There's one this weekend and there's one the weekend after. So there's like a couple of companies that do one, and in like they do like an Orange County one, and then an LA one, and then like a Riverside one, and
a Long Beach one, and an Ontario one.
Yeah. Oh right? Yeah. I'm sorry. We're also going to Comic-Con Revolution in Ontario because almost the entire voice cast of Rebels is going to be there.
Very nice.
So we got to go for that, and it's right down the street from our house. So yeah, we went to 11 or 12. I might be forgetting, but quite a lot.
I think I'm aiming for 6 next year. I think there's 6 that a lot of them are out of state. I think my out of state ones: Emerald City Comic Con, New York.
Oh, I've heard that's a good one.
Chicago. I'm looking at Dragon Con in Atlanta.
I've heard really good things about Dragon Con.
Yeah, so we're all doing great things. And
Emerald City is one I would love to go to. I think possibly it's right before WonderCon, which is rough. I think it's also might be the weekend of my daughter is going to be in a Willy Wonka the musical at her school.
Very nice.
Aww. I think it might be that weekend. But yeah, Emerald City out of state cons are like, I mean, it's hard to travel with a kid, even down to San Diego. So that's something I definitely want to do someday. The furthest we've been is Vegas for a con we went to.
Emerald City Comic Con is in Seattle, February 29th to March 3rd. And WonderCon is in Anaheim, March 29th to 31st.
Oh, okay.
So a month in between. I'm planning on both. WonderCon especially, of course, because it's my backyard. but D23 Expo, which is no longer called D23 Expo. It's called D23 Disney Fan Experience or something like that. I don't know why they're rebranding it to be like events at the park, events at the con, and events at Angel Stadium.
Oh, interesting.
So that's something in 2024. So I don't know if that's good or bad, but we'll see how that goes. 2023 for me, I just realized today I've been focusing on all the good stuff in 2023, and I've been riding this like cool stuff. And then I realized today, oh yeah, there were bad things too. So now, I was flying high, and now let's talk about the best of 2023. Movies, TV, books. Did anyone read any books this year?
I started reading again for like the first time in years, and I'm so excited.
What'd you read in 2023? Normally we don't talk books. You know, but
so I started the year last Christmas. And it was weird that I asked for this because like I said, I hadn't really been reading as an adult. I just hadn't had the attention span. But last Christmas, I asked for Simu Liu's memoir. And so I started this year, I read his memoir. And then I didn't read anything for like until August when I went to the beach with my friends. And on the way to the beach, my friends are like, and we're going to read. I'm like, I'm sorry, what? That's news to me. I don't have books. So we swung by a bookstore and I bought A Court of Thorns and Roses. And I went down the rabbit hole big time.
I hear some people who love it.
I love it. I just finished reading the entire series the other day. And then I read 3 books this week alone.
You were on a binge, which is good. I
am on a binge. I also reread all the Percy Jackson books in preparation for the show. I'm now reading the Heroes of Olympus series again.
Wasn't there a new Percy Jackson book that came out this year?
And I haven't read it yet, which is why I'm rereading Heroes of Olympus, because the new one, the 6th book takes place after the 2nd series.
Of course.
So there's like the series of the first 5 books, that's Percy Jackson and Olympians. Then there's Heroes of Olympus, which is another 5 books. Yeah. And then the new Percy Jackson book is part of the first series, but it takes place after the 2nd because they're all like interconnected.
Yeah, of course.
And then there's also like other books that are part of that universe, and some I've read, some I haven't. So I'm like rereading everything.
I'm gonna read them this year or next year.
You're gonna love them.
I got them for Evie for Christmas, so we're gonna start reading them before bed as her bedtime stories. So
nice.
And how old is she?
She's about to be 7.
Oh, I was 11 when I first started reading them, and I started reading them around the time the 2nd book came out. And it was my mom read them.
I've never read them, so we're going on the journey together.
But I love that you're reading them together, because that's literally how I started reading it. I had done like a book club with my mom at church, and it was us, a bunch of old ladies, and our pastor, and we just enjoyed reading a book together. Mind you, I was 11. And we just enjoyed reading a book together, my mom and I. So after that book club ended, we decided we wanted to read another book together. And her librarian had suggested the first Percy Jackson book. So we read it together. She picked up 2 copies and we did our own little book club. And then my sister proceeded to read them. My dad proceeded to read them. It's a family affair. Yeah. We have literally every book by him.
I love the idea that you had a church book club. And then the 2nd book was a Percy Jackson. It was like, look.
The Percy Jackson book was not part of church.
If you like this God, you're going to love these ones.
No. The Percy Jackson book was not. No, the one that, the book that I read with church was Lizzie McGuire? No. It was like Lizzie something and the Buckminster Boy. Lizzie Bright and the Buckminster Boy. I couldn't begin to tell you what that book was about. I don't remember it. I just remember my mom and I enjoyed reading a book together.
That's cool.
So when the book club ended, my mom and I were like, well, let's just do this one book just us. And it was right around the time I was developing an interest in Greek mythology.
Yeah, that's nice.
The only books I've read this year, I am an English teacher and I create my own classes. So I give them choices of the books. Every class has 5 books that they can pick. Mm-hmm. And it's like little tracks you can take. So I read all of the assigned reading over the summer. So I have a graphic novels class and then an antagonists and foils class. So I read a lot of those. And then I'm in a Comic-Con educators book club where we read a new comic every month that could be used in the classroom. So I read, it's a lot of comics that could possibly be young adult, high school age. So we did like Laura Dean Keeps Breaking Up With Me, which is a favorite. Superman and the Harvest of Youth is one we just read, which I also really liked. But yeah, I got a book club, and then the stuff that my students read is my only books that I've read this year.
That's a lot of what my mom does because she's a 5th grade teacher.
I don't read that many books. I spend too much time reading comic books.
That's still reading.
I mean, it is, but prose, right? Like, I don't read prose, and even when I read prose, it's nonfiction. So, like, Malcolm Gladwell, I'm reading a lot of Malcolm Gladwell, and then listening to an audiobook of one of them, because I'm like, while I drive, I'm just going to listen to his audiobook while I'm, like, driving. So
that's what I've been doing.
It's not 2020.
That's how I read.
Yeah.
But. I mean, that's how I reread the Percy Jackson series was through audio, though it turns out I was using Audible wrong, and so I need to find a new audiobook service because apparently the way I was using Audible was completely wrong, and the way you're supposed to use it I think is just too expensive. So now I'm trying to find like a more affordable audio service, but that also actually has the books I want to listen to. Because people keep suggesting book services to me that are like more affordable. I'm like, but they don't have the books I want to listen to.
We'll talk after. Maybe.
Yeah, I need suggestions.
I need to figure out stuff for myself. What I also realized, and I don't want to derail the conversation. I was playing a lot of Marvel Snap this year on my free time. And then recently I changed over to the New York Times crosswords. And I don't know which one's better or worse. Marvel Snap is really fun. I got tired. I was playing it a lot. That was my free time. Like my time between times, those times, like there's the big things you do, then there's the smaller things you fit in between there. And then there's like the smaller things. You get 5 minutes of time. What do you do?
I do the New York Times crossword, connections, and Wordle every day. That's like this is like a 75-year-old thing to say, but I drink my I drop my kid off at school. I sit down, I drink my coffee, I do the Wordle and the connections and the crossword while I drink my coffee.
Do you do the big crossword or the small?
I do the mini. I do the mini because I don't want to pay for it.
Oh, I decided to pay for it. The crosswords are tough. Some of them are purposely tough. I don't want to get into this, but New York Times crosswords, sometimes their whole point is to like make you feel dumb or be like, you didn't get this wordplay.
Yeah, the wordplay is the worst.
I'm like, why are you doing wordplay?
Oh, it's like when I'm watching Jeopardy and there's those categories where the answer is like a combination of two things. I hate those categories.
Yeah.
Can't see.
They just had one of those the other day and I had a delightful time.
I know. I was like, what is this?
I
like those ones.
Okay. I could go on about this. It's just a recent thing in mind. We're picking up different things in 2023. We're different people at the end of 2023 than we were at the beginning. And then 2024, hopefully we'll have that same growth. Did you guys watch more movies or TV this year?
I don't know.
I think I watched more movies.
Like, okay, yeah.
Well, I watch a lot of TV, but some of it's repeat.
That's fair. Like, you just watch and rewatch stuff?
Well, I watch like a lot of sitcoms and procedurals while I'm working because it's easy. I need something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll just be on my phone, which obviously is bad. So I just need some sort of background noise. And if I'm at the office, it's an audiobook or a podcast. But if I'm at home, I've got my little Kindle, so it's not like a big TV. My little Kindle is just like playing. Right now, it's Modern Family for like the 7th time.
Have you
my favorite show?
Have you watched Community?
I have.
Okay, good. At least...
I've watched Community. I just rewatched The Office recently. Parks and Rec.
Have you
New
watched...
Girl's always in the mix.
Did you say New Girl?
New Girl's always in the mix. Okay. I've seen that so many times.
I do that with The Good Place. I do that with The Good Place.
I love The Good Place.
I just finished rewatching The Good Place.
It's so good.
Were you about to say happy endings?
I was going to say happy. I always say happy endings. I love happy endings. You don't like happy endings?
I do. I love it, but it's one of those ones.
I don't think I've seen that.
It's a deep cut. It
Okay.
didn't get the love it deserved when it was on.
3 seasons. It was on for 3 seasons, and every at the end of every season, it was about to get canceled. Then it gets picked back up again, and like at the final season, so there's a 3 seasons plus a COVID special they did on Zoom, and
I love when they did the COVID special.
The COVID specials on Zoom. It was fun. Sarah, did you watch that one?
I didn't.
It was funny. Because they do like meta humor sometimes. So they were like, oh yeah, that time it was back in season 2, episode 13. That's what I call like blah blah blah, and they like made up an in-universe reason why it like something was a season in an episode.
Yeah.
Oh, it was like an emotional breakdown of Penny. Like it was her episode.
Right.
So anyway, Happy Endings is really good, so I recommend that. Okay. But that is not 2023. Ugh.
No.
I would say it's harder for me to watch TV shows, and this is maybe just an anti-binge model.
Yeah.
Because when it's a movie, I have to dedicate, like last night I was like, I want to watch something. Okay, I'll watch. I've heard a lot about Saltburn. I have 2 hours to give Saltburn right now. I'll do it because my daughter is at my dad's house, right?
Right.
I'm sorry, her dad's house. And then, but for a TV show, like I started watching Blue Eye Samurai. Love it. But if every Thursday I had to watch Blue Eye Samurai, I could be totally committed to it, right? Yeah. If every Thursday for 6 weeks I got to watch an hour of Blue Eye Samurai, I would be for it. But instead it was all at once, there's 8 hours of it. And that's so much more of a commitment, even though it's like, I guess I could watch it every day for a week, watch up 1 episode a day, but then it's like I'm scheduling myself. So yeah, it's with the binge model, with everything dropping at once, it's a lot easier for me to commit a couple hours to a movie than.
Yeah.
I feel like I used to be really great at binging, and this is where my attention span like constantly is fluctuating, because as I said, I struggled with reading up until recently. Now it's like I'm struggling with watching TV unless it's like my little sitcom or something. Because there's like, I've been trying to watch the new season of Our Flag Means Death. I think I've only watched like 3 episodes. Meanwhile, I was obsessed with the first season and went through it so quickly.
It's a state of mind, right? Like binging. The way I used to say it, and it's so funny because before I was doing a bunch of like part-time jobs, I used to tell people, be like, why aren't you watching stuff? Like, come on. Like,
right.
Just put it aside some time and like watch something. Everybody has time. And then I got now I have a full-time job and a part-time job. And so I'm like, uh-oh.
Well, my friend was always like, oh, I don't watch that. I haven't been watching much TV. I've just been reading a lot. I'm like, how? And now I'm literally in that same position.
Yeah. I mean, I was
also I don't have Netflix anymore.
Oh, yeah, that's fair. I pay too much for Netflix now because I paid for my family's Netflix.
Oh.
Thinking that I was like back when I was on it. And then now I'm right? Like I'm separate. And now I added on the additional fee to be separate.
My parents won't do that.
I'm not going to cut my mom's Netflix. But I also need Netflix.
Right.
So I'm kind of stuck here.
See, my parents were paying for Netflix, and then I actually lasted a while on Netflix. Long after my sister got booted, I was still on it.
Yeah.
And I thought I had kind of like sneaked through the system because I live less than a mile from my parents. So I was like, oh, have I tricked Netflix? Because I live so close to them. Too. And eventually I went to watch something, and I had literally watched like the first episode of a show, and I was like, oh, that's great. And the next day I went to go watch the next one. It was like, I don't think you're on the right network.
Yeah.
Like, damn, I didn't care about the show that much to pay for it. So
I'm going to do a quick rundown just of the topics that the Keeg has covered this year. Movies and TV, right? So like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Mandalorian came out. We also got Shazam! Fury of the Gods, right? These are like comic book stuff. Last of Us was this year.
Loved that.
Mandalorian again. Oh, Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. Super Mario Brothers movie. There was a Mighty Morphin Power Rangers special this year. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Little Mermaid. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Transformers: Rise of the Beast. The Flash. Secret Invasion. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. There was some Star Trek shows that came out this year. Strange New Worlds, Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, Blue Beetle came out, Ninja Turtles came out. What else do we got? The Marvels, Loki Season 2, Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. And that's roughly it. The strike was also this year, so it kind of affected things. Like Barbie came out and Oppenheimer came out,
Barbie.
I couldn't tell by
you know what I want to talk about.
Do you guys have a number one pick of the year? Movie wise? Let's talk movies.
Barbie.
Is Barbie your number one pick of the year?
Yes, hands down. I loved it.
I loved it, and I need to see it again. So I'll probably watch it with my mom. But
yeah,
I don't know whether it's my pick of the year.
I haven't watched it since it came back on streaming, but I saw it 3 times in theaters.
Okay, all right.
This is one of my very first. I have a child, and that heavily influences my picks of the year. But one of the things that she does is if she watches a movie, we then watch it every day for the next 4 to 5 days. So I showed her Barbie a couple days ago, and we have watched it 3 times in the past 4 or 5 days. So I've watched Barbie many, many times. And now it is her go-to when she's just like idly doing something. If she's coloring, she'll be like, I'm just Ken anywhere else. Like she's singing I'm Just Ken in the background of her life.
That song has been stuck in my head for months.
It was my number 1 song on Spotify. I apparently listened to it over 600 times.
That's fantastic.
I mean,
my number 2 song was Push, also by Ryan Gosling.
Wait, what's Push?
That's the song he sings when they're like all singing, where they're like playing guitar at the Barbies.
Oh,
so, yeah. I'll play guitar.
That was my number 2 song.
Okay. For some reason, I was thinking Push It by Salt and Pepper.
Yeah. No, as a result, Ryan Gosling was my number 3 artist on Spotify.
That's wild.
But, that's why Justin Timberlake has been in my top 3 for a long time because my daughter is obsessed with Trolls.
Oh nice. I've never seen those.
Yeah.
I was going to watch the new one because I like boy bands, but I didn't get to watch the new one.
I will say I left Trolls. There'll be a time to talk about Trolls 3. There'll be time.
So
it's in a category.
So Sarah, do you have a best movie of the year? Like your favorite?
I mean, in my heart, it's Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
I am a creature of habit, and a lot of my favorite things are things that I can watch over and over again.
Yeah.
It was interesting to see the list of movies because Guardians 3 I really, really loved.
Yeah.
But it's one of those movies where it's like it wasn't, and this makes me sound like a shallow person, right? Like it was great, but it wasn't fun. Like I'm not gonna pop some popcorn and turn on Guardians 3, even though it was a really good movie. There were fun, funny moments, but Across the Spider-Verse, at any random point in my day, I can just start watching it.
Yeah.
Right. And have a good time. Same with Barbie. Same with Saltburn. I can just watch it anytime and have a
You can watch Saltburn at just any time?
Yeah. Oh, I
don't think I ever want to see it again.
So I watched Saltburn last night, and I think there's 2 distinct categories of people. This is people now. People that it's 3 categories. There's I didn't like Saltburn. It was where I think you're in, where it was a movie. I don't think I ever need to see that again. Some weird stuff. It was a little disturbing. I don't know if I want to watch it. And then
it made me want to oh no, God, sorry.
I was watching it and I just kept thinking I'm having the time of my life. What a delight this movie is. It's so darkly funny and absurd. Nothing that happened. Maybe it's because I was prepped for the weirder things that happened, but nothing that happened in it was it's funny the water out of that bathtub. I was yeah, it's Jacob Elordi's bathwater. Okay.
Oh, it was so much more than just
that makes people sick.
It was so much more than just his bathwater.
Oh.
I want to clarify.
But not visibly more than his bathwater.
No, but it was more than just his bathwater, and that was the point. It's funny because I went into the movie knowing exactly what it was. I knew exactly what it was. I wasn't planning to watch it at all. And so I had honestly just Googled the whole plot a month ago when it came out. I was like, I saw the trailer. I was like, I'm curious what it is, but not curious enough to watch the movie. Let's like Google this. So I went in fully aware of what it was, and it still wasn't that for me.
I'm not gonna watch it. But I
mean, it's free if you want.
It's in the category for me. One of my favorite genres is like rich people being horrible to each other.
I hated everyone.
Rich people being the worst, or like there's no one likable in this movie. That's why I really like Succession. Succession is such a show of like you don't root for anyone in Succession, but you really love.
I need someone to like.
But for me, Barry Keoghan in this movie, it very much for me falls into that like good for her cinematic universe thing, where it's like, yeah, did she murder people? But good for her, you know, like they all sucked. Right, like I think that is it's for me it fits in that. Like I know that Barry Keoghan is a cisgender man, but he fits beautifully. It's a little puzzle.
No, I see what you're saying.
The good for her cinematic universe.
Yeah, it was. I described it to my parents because I was watching something with my parents and an ad popped up, and even though I hadn't seen the movie, I knew what it was. And my mom was like, what the heck is that? I'm like, do you have any intention of seeing it? She's like, no. I'm like, all right. The basic plot is deranged bisexual shows up and ruins everyone's lives.
I just glanced the Wikipedia entry.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't know why. I'm not that. I don't know. I don't know why. I'm trying to like. People are making all these. I'm like now a Saltburn #1 defender. I know.
I'm not judging anyone who enjoys it.
No. It's not for me. I'm not judging anyone who didn't. I think it's one of those things. Like I think the conversation around it is very strange. Like there's a lot of things I'm seeing of like, if you thought Saltburn was disturbing, here's 10 more disturbing videos, and it's like, no, I didn't. I just think that it's a lot of pretty people behaving badly, and there's a little bit of depravity. It's not that, but I had a great time.
Speaking of which, they're doing a Cruel Intentions TV show, I think.
Why?
I think some of the people are being involved, like the cast previous are involved. So anyway, talking about
I feel like all those movies have a different cast because there's at least 2 or 3 of those.
There's one Cruel Intentions, and then there was
there's like a sequel. It's like a different cast.
Yeah, there's a sequel movie that went straight to like it was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like a pilot for a show, but then it ended up being released as a direct to like VHS movie, and it was more of a Skinamax sort of situation. Right,
because I remember I definitely saw both, and it was like the same characters, but the cast was completely different.
I think so, because it was supposed to be a pilot for a show, but
is it called Crueler Intentions?
I don't know.
I just want them. I always want things to be labeled in the Fast and Furious way of like. Yeah. Too cruel, too intense.
But the Fast and Furious doesn't even make sense because there's no consistency.
Did you guys see Fast X?
I've seen 2 Fast and Furious movies in my life, and that's it.
So Fast X the first 2 came out this year, and I didn't do a Keeg episode on it. Just for multiple reasons, but like it lost me. It like I've been on this road, pun intended, with the characters, and nobody dies unless they want to die. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
The idea that like
superheroes at this point.
Like I get like the upsetting the laws of physics thing, because that's kind of the way it's like. If a car goes off a cliff and then activates its boosters, maybe it gets enough lift to like fly up. Whatever. It's dumb.
Sure.
But like that's part of the magic. But when it comes to like nobody who's dead is dead unless you purposely choose to die. It's the weirdest thing. And like I don't know. It's too much. And you can clearly see that Vin Diesel wants to be fan favorite, but he's not fan favorite. And
really?
Vin Diesel's
Who's
nobody's favorite in
Who's fan favorite?
I mean, people liked Paul Walker's character better than Vin Diesel, I think.
Oh, really?
But like,
I mean, I haven't seen those movies in like 10 years.
The Rock became everybody's favorite.
I do like him.
And then that's why he left, because Vin Diesel and The Rock were bumping heads. And then now The Rock is back because nobody wants to deal with The Rock anymore on other movies. So The Rock comes back at the end of Fast X in a post-credit scene.
Oh.
Do you guys want me to just spoil that? Like,
spoil it. I mean, I kind of want to watch all of them at some point, but not enough to be like, oh, don't spoil it for me. Because I saw clips of Jason Momoa in that movie. And I'm like, I don't know what was happening in this movie, but he seems like he's a good time. So
he's good in it. John Cena is good in it. And
John Cena's in those movies now?
Yeah. And he's been, because John Cena's great now, you know? But I think it was either this movie or the last movie that Han comes back from the dead.
Yeah, from Tokyo.
So Han comes back from the dead. And then at the end of this movie, guess who's alive?
Paul Walker?
I don't know.
No, not Paul Walker. I don't know why I'm asking you guys. But wait, Sarah, how many have you seen?
I've seen like 3.
Okay. Gal Gadot's character is alive.
Oh.
Wait, she's in those movies?
And she dies, and then it's been years, and now she's back. And then post-credit scene,
she won't work as Wonder Woman anymore.
The Rock comes in the post-credit scene. Well, it's a big guy with a mask on, and then you're like, I wonder who this guy is who's walking like this, you know? And then he takes off his mask, and he's like, oh, that's some bitch. And like, okay, cool. That's The Rock. We see him now. Okay, The Rock is back. And like, nobody dies in that movie except for John Cena. He dies. And he chooses to die in this weird way. I'm trying to remember what happens. I think he like shoots a rocket downwards and flips his car and then like dies.
What are these movies?
So that's Fast X for you.
Wow.
That's not the worst movie of the year, in my opinion.
I bet I can guess which one it is.
Sounds fun.
It does sound fun.
It's not as fun as the previous Fast movies. That's the thing. Like, that's what I used to say about the previous ones. At least they're fun. This one, nah.
I am intrigued. I did actually I never got around to it, mostly because I hadn't seen the other Fast and Furious movies that were definitely like were set beforehand. But I wanted to see the spinoff Hobbs and Shaw because I felt like that was an interesting duo.
It's not that good. I watched it also. I wanted to like it, but well, Vanessa Kirby is amazing, but I don't know whether it's my mind and my eyes playing tricks on me.
That's fair. That's fair.
But that movie needed like one more rewrite. Like they needed like one more like punch up by like actual comedy writers, but I feel like they got pro wrestling writers, so like their comebacks aren't witty. They're just like, how about I shove my foot up your ass so then you can tie your nose with my shoelaces? What? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
You know, whatever, dude. Or they're just like, you some bitch. And it's like, okay, cool.
I'm imagining some bitch, that line delivered in the way that like, I'm thinking about Charlotte's Web when she writes some pig. But now I'm just like, some bitch. That's
yeah.
I'm always thinking about Charlotte's Web.
That's fair.
That's fair.
It's a great book.
So Fast X is not my worst. My favorite, because my mom used to say like, oh, you cry so much at movies because the movie is good. Like, that's the point of a movie, right? If they're making you cry, it means you're feeling something for them, right? So Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 might be my best, my number one. So I've only watched it once, and I'm trying to catch my mom up with Marvel movies so I can literally make her cry with this movie. Like, I am setting her up.
It's a valiant goal.
Because we've gotten as far as we just finished Guardians Volume 2, and she's watched Black Panther. So like, I'm literally setting her up for just crying. Infinity War.
Yeah, pretty much from here on out, it's sobbing.
Endgame, Black Panther 2, Guardians 3. I'm literally just setting her up
No Way Home.
She's already seen No Way Home. Weirdly enough.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I feel like if I ranked my movies by crying this year, I feel like Across the Spider-Verse is top for me, but I also like Into the Spider-Verse is one of my favorite movies of all time. So Across the Spider-Verse is definitely up there. But then I feel like second through like 10th place, there's like a bunch of movies that I was like, that was a good movie that I really liked watching. There was a couple movies this year that I did not enjoy watching, but for the most part, but then I also cried. Like I cry very easily. I cried during Guardians, I cried during Barbie, but I also watched that with my mom.
Same.
I cried well, I watched Past Lives and I cried through almost that entire movie. And then which is very good. I haven't seen The Holdovers, but I'm sure I'll cry. I didn't cry during Saltburn, but I watched Wonka yesterday with my daughter. This was our double feature as I watched Wonka with my daughter and then I watched Saltburn alone on my couch. And I cried during Wonka.
There's actually a bunch of movies out right now that I want to see, but I just didn't have the energy to get to the movie theater.
Yeah.
I feel like the last couple months I just haven't been to the movies, but I never got to see around to seeing Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Yeah, I wanted to see that. I heard really good things. I was actually invited to a screening of it, but it didn't work out for me work-wise because I wasn't going to be getting home until like 2 a.m. and then I had to get up at 6 to go to the office. I was like, I just can't tell my boss that I can't go to the office because I'm going to the movies. So I ended up not seeing it and I just haven't seen it yet, but there's like a bunch of stuff out right now. I want to see Wonka. What else is out right now?
Aquaman 2.
Aquaman I haven't seen yet, but I want to. Is New Color Purple out?
Yeah.
I think so.
I want to see that.
I love that there's a lot of musicals out that they're not telling us they're musicals. Like Wonka's genuinely a musical.
I don't know how people didn't know that. Like the first one was.
The first one, yeah.
Oh yeah.
This has more songs than the first one.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I've never thought of the first one being a musical because
like the Oompa Loompas sing.
The Oompa Loompas sing. And then Gene Wilder has the ones like one or two songs, right?
But then there's also Cheer Up Charlie, aka the moment where you can just go make yourself popcorn. The song that that Charlie's mom sings.
Oh, is that the one where the grandpa gets out of bed and starts dancing?
No, but she's like alone singing about how like it's okay that we're poor. Like it's
been a while since I watched it.
It's one of the most forgettable songs. But yeah, Wonka, I was like, I don't know if this is a good movie, but I am having a nice time.
Okay.
I mean, I like Timothy Chalamet, and I feel like he's just quirky enough that it fits, in my opinion.
Does he do a good job? Because I don't think he's endearing enough.
He's very charming in the movie.
Okay.
It's a he does a good job. Except for he talks about his mom a lot, and every time he says mama, it just reminds me of Austin Butler in Elvis.
Oh.
Which is a movie I did not enjoy watching. Every time he's like, we're doing it, mama. And I'm like, why are you saying it like mama? Like he's got a weird inflection.
It sounds like Johnny Bravo.
Yeah.
Well, didn't he like change his entire accent for that movie?
Have I told you he's from Anaheim? Why is he talking like this? Get rid of he
looks like a surfer dude, and now he's like, I've always talked like this. And
to do all of
like
that work for a movie that was genuinely bad.
Yeah.
Is like
because he's not good.
If it was a masterpiece, I would say.
Didn't he get like Oscar buzz for that movie?
It's dumb. Yeah, but I think it's because it's Baz Luhrmann, right? Like it's Oscar bait, right? He's also in Dune Part 2.
That's true.
But I don't
wait. Austin Butler's in Dune Part 2?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I don't want him. Okay. The first time
I'm still gonna see it because Florence Pugh will be there.
Austin Butler was in
Arrow.
It out. So Austin Butler had a very small part in Arrow. And his storyline was a DJ at the club that like Oliver Queen's sister owns and manages. And they're like setting up a love interest. And then it turns out he was in the League of Assassins the whole time. And he tries to like kill her. But It doesn't make any sense, and he's horrible.
The choice.
He's also in. Is he in the San Junipero episode of Black Mirror? I just watched it the other day, and I was like, "Is that Austin Butler?" Hold on,
I don't think
I'll look it up.
Okay.
He's a guy at the bar who's just trying to hit on Gugu Mbatha-Raw's character.
Oh, okay.
I just remember being in high school and watching the Carrie Diaries, and he was Sebastian Kidd, and he was also in like a lot of like tween rom-coms on like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel when I was growing up.
I saw Puss in Boots: The Last Wish came out last year, but I saw it this year before Oscars season.
Oh,
or whatever.
Never got around to seeing that.
It's really good.
I love
Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is really good.
You know what? I loved The Little Mermaid. That was so beautifully done.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I still have very mixed feelings on the fact that Disney is just pumping out these remakes of their old movies. I think it's a lot. It's, in my opinion, it's really lazy. However, as far as those remakes go, this one was by far the best because it remade the classic story that we know from the late 80s, but really expanded upon the characters and the story in a way that enhanced it, as opposed to, I feel like some of the others, I didn't hate Aladdin. I feel like Aladdin was kind of fun, and some of the changes they included in that
liked Aladdin.
But I liked Aladdin. But there were some that it's like, I know, I liked Aladdin too, but I feel like a lot of the others, the changes or additions, it was just like
Lion King was unnecessary.
I also liked Aladdin. I feel like Little Mermaid did successfully what Aladdin did not as successfully. They added in that Jasmine song. While it is a good song, it didn't really do anything for me for the story. But I feel like they added a lot of stuff to
Eric's character.
Yeah, to Eric's character that made it make sense. They also closed the loophole of her not remembering that she's trying to get him to kiss her.
Yeah.
Right.
Where it's like, it seems like it would be easier to get him to
spell it out, right?
Yeah, right.
Right.
So that was a good, I really enjoyed it.
I also liked how their romance was built upon a shared interest of curiosity for the world beyond their own versus just like, hey, you're pretty.
Yeah.
Because it feels like a lot of like their initial romance in the first movie was them just kind of infatuated with the other, like, hey, they're handsome, hey, you're pretty. There was obviously more to it than I think some other Disney movies, but this one was very much a shared curiosity and love of learning that bonded them, and I really loved that. It felt a lot more organic.
And correct me if I'm wrong, are the new Disney adaptations essentially adding a layer of like, hey, it's not enough that like you're good looking or that there's a sexual attraction, like there has to be something else? Or is it just this movie?
And did that happen in others?
I don't know.
Remember.
Does it happen in Aladdin?
I mean, they're trying to add like some agency to Jasmine in Aladdin.
Yes.
But I feel like she already kind of had
that.
It. Like, I feel like
she definitely had more than others.
Yeah, and I feel like theirs is not a love at first sight type. They do have a genuine connection, so I feel like it wasn't really necessary. Aladdin and Jasmine, like they've got to meet cute, right?
Yeah.
But no, I feel like they did need to update the Little Mermaid for that.
Yeah.
I think they did a good job.
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, was Halle Bailey just incredible casting.
Yeah.
It was so good. I saw it with my mom and my best friend. My best friend drove like 2.5 hours from where she lives just to come see it with me. And it was great. It was so much fun.
The only downside I think of the Little Mermaid movie is that I wanted to see more of her sisters. Like they spent all that time designing the sisters, casting them, and they didn't do anything.
A lot of the marketing and like if you go to Party City, like all of the Little Mermaid party stuff features the sisters, but they're really not in it that much.
No.
Yeah.
And maybe
I would have liked more of the sisters.
I think I go against like what a lot of people want. I want more Disney Plus series tie-ins with movies. Like I want more world expansion. Like that's me personally. And so I know a lot of people don't want that, but like I want an Aladdin sequel personally. I want, like, I would love for
I'd be down for that.
A live action Aladdin sequel of an original story. We don't need to do Return of Jafar, but we could do like something else. They're not going to do it, but I would love a Little Mermaid sequel. For this, because they go off, right? The World Beyond. What's it called? Like, what do they say? It's like, isn't there like a phrase that they use for like charting uncharted seas, or is that what it's called? Anyway, the point being is they could do a Little Mermaid sequel. They could do a Little Mermaid TV show and like have those sisters involved. You know? Maybe it's just me and I want more hot mermaids. I don't know, but I think there's a lot of stories to be told.
I agree.
I'm looking through my AMC A list at like all the movies that came out this year and whatnot, and there's movies just I forgot that even existed. Like, did you guys see Joyride?
No, but I wanted to.
It's okay. I mean, I like the fact that it exists, and that if anybody likes it, then that's good. I personally thought it needed one more punch up in the script. And that's how I judge a lot of these scripts now, is like,
you know? Yeah. You know what movies I loved? And these both of these movies star the same actor. And I love them so much. One of them I saw so many times. I want to watch it again. I might watch it tonight. Red, White, and Royal Blue and Bottoms.
What's Red, White, and Royal Blue?
Oh,
I get to tell you about Red, White, and what?
Did it come out this year?
Yes, it was on Amazon Prime. It was straight to Prime. And
What
it's
is it?
genuinely one of my favorite movies. It's based on a book, and I can't wait to read the book. The whole premise is the son of the first female president of the United States and the grandson of the King of England fall in love.
Okay.
So it's essentially like a Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen movie, but adults.
Is it? It's not. It's more like the Royal Prince. No, there's like a series of princess movies on Netflix, right? That kind of have to.
Are there?
I don't know. Anyway,
they're Christmas. It's a Christmas Prince baby prince.
Yeah, something like that.
But they but they the son of the president and the grandson of the King of England fall in love. But they're like, but because it's a same-sex relationship, they're kind of trying to keep it quiet because he's the Prince of England, and so that's not acceptable. And the president is running for re-election, and he doesn't want to, derail his mom's campaign. Of course, his mom's totally fine with it. But it was one of the sweetest movies I've seen. Is it kind of goofy? Absolutely. But oh my God, I loved it so much. I've seen it so many times. Like, I put it on one day I'm bored and I'm like working on some projects. Let me put this on in the background. I completely ignored the projects I was working on because I was so glued to the screen.
Who does Sarah Shahi play?
I think that's the president's like assistant.
Oh, okay.
Wait, if I'm remembering correctly.
I'm looking it up right now. That's why I'm just.
It was kind of like one of the first like book talk books. It was one of those books that everyone on TikTok.
It was big on Book Talk, and it came out. It came out just this summer. It was just this summer straight to Amazon. And Sarah saw. Oh yes, she's the chief of staff.
Thurman is the president. Okay.
Yes, Uma Thurman is the president. It was great casting.
Maybe I'll check it out.
I highly recommend. It's really just a very sweet movie. I loved it. It kind of starts enemies to lovers.
Yeah. Are there? Do you guys? Is this is this the best rom-com of the year for you, Cailin?
You know what? I'm gonna say yes. Because it just makes me happy every time it's on. Like, anytime I have a friend over that's like, we should watch a movie. What should we watch? I'm like, have you watched Red, White, and Royal Blue? And if the answer is no, we're watching it.
Amazon or Freevee, or Amazon by way of Freevee, has been doing rom-coms that are like better than Hallmark movies, but they have a formula to them, fine, but they're just legitimately written better, and like the jokes are better.
Okay.
And so there were two that I watched recently. One was the Lucy Hale Grant Gustin one, with the dogs. You know what I'm talking about?
No, I didn't know they did a movie together.
It is the cutest
What's it
thing.
called?
It's a someone has to know. Like, we got to be able to. I want to shout out.
Wait, let me look it up.
It's called Puppy Love. Of course it is.
Puppy Love?
Of course it is. It's called Puppy Love. And it's basically Grant Gustin, because of COVID, Grant Gustin's character is an agoraphobe, so he just doesn't want to go out and got used to just staying indoors. And he has a dog. And his friend is like, no, you got to get out there and date. And so he goes online and he finds, they match, and they both have dogs, so like that's part of their interest. And then they go for a walk with the dogs on their first date.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is their personalities clash, because like he doesn't want to take the chance, like he doesn't want to take like chances and whatever. And then she's like, I think she just got out of a relationship, I think. And like, but the dog ends up getting pregnant by the other dog, and so they're going to be grandparents.
Oh no.
But then they're like, but we don't like each other. We can't stand each other, but we're going to do it for the kids. And like, it's super cute.
I love stuff like that. It's just so sappy.
There's that one. And then there was another one with Robbie Amell and Leighton Meester.
I just watched it.
I watched it
a couple weeks ago.
What's it called? It's Xmas, right?
Xmas.
Yeah. Did
It's
you like
Xmas,
it?
but it's like X. I thought it was fun.
I thought it, I mean, I had good jokes. Like, I could tell, like, okay, they put thoughts into the jokes, and they put thought, like, the actors put thought in their, like, comedic timing.
Right. And I mean, first of all, I just enjoy Robbie Amell in anything.
Is he the better Amell?
In my opinion, I like him. Well, I think for one, there's a nostalgia factor with me, because I've been watching Robbie Amell in movies since I was like 10, because he's been playing a teenager for 15 years. I know his first movie was Cheaper by the Dozen 2, which came out in like 2005.
I saw that in theaters.
And he was a teenager when he made that movie.
Yeah.
I think most recently he played a teenager in one of those like killer babysitter movies, which was 2020. So he's played a teenager for 15 years.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he's married with a child and in his 30s. But I love Robbie Amell. I've grown up watching him in so many different things, and I just think he's fun.
Yeah.
Have you seen Upload?
No. I watched the first episode.
I watched the first season. I think there's 3 seasons now. I've only seen the first season, but I thought that was fun. I loved him on Life with Derek back in the day. As deranged as that show was.
That's the 2 step siblings that.
That's the 2 step siblings that have a little too much chemistry.
Yeah.
But he had a reoccurring role because he played the stepsister's boyfriend for a while.
Okay. Wait, Sarah, are you a fan of rom-coms?
Not as much as you two. I mean,
okay, I just like
I'm a fan of the classic rom-com. I feel like I'm a mid-2000s rom-com
I
girl.
love that era.
Legally Blonde is like one of my top 5 favorite movies.
Is Legally Blonde a rom-com?
Just Like it, no, it's not. Just Like Heaven is a movie I really like. 10 Things I Hate About You is one of my favorite movies.
10 Things I Hate About You.
I like rom-coms that are based on Shakespeare plays, which is why it's frustrating to hear that Anyone But You is not very good, because that is based on Much Ado About Nothing.
It's not good?
I've not heard good things. But
no,
I think
I still kind of want to see it.
Yeah.
I love that genre.
I haven't. I feel like.
Oh.
Yeah.
I could tell that Anything But You was not going to be good. The trailer
Listen,
was
but they're
horrible.
pretty. But they're pretty.
Glenn Powell is funny. I don't know if you've seen him in Scream Queens. Like, I saw season 1 of Scream Queens. He's hilarious. Like,
I saw him. What was that movie? He did a movie with Zoe Deutsch and like Taye Diggs.
Taye Diggs and Lucy Liu. It's
Lucy Liu.
They're
yes.
setting up their bosses. I forget what it's called.
Right. I think it's called like Set It Up or something.
Yeah.
And he was funny. He was funny in that. I like Glenn Powell. In my opinion, he has chronic 1950s face. Like, he looks like he was plucked out of an old photo of a soldier from the 1950s.
Well, but he's been playing a lot of soldiers now.
I know he has, but does that man not look like, if you put that man in an old military uniform and gave it a sepia filter?
Yeah. I mean, he's the type, like, if you put that sepia filter, people are like, your grandpa was hot. Like,
Exactly. No, that's the thing. He
type of-
looks like my grandfather. He actually does look like my grandfather when my grandfather was in the military in the 1950s.
He looks like a hot grandpa. Oh.
Good for your grandma.
He looked like my grandfather. I've seen old. My grandfather was a very handsome man. He looks like my grandfather.
That's fair. My problem with him is that, like, he's not, like, using his comedy chops anymore. And have they gone rusty? I don't know. But, like, I haven't seen this movie, so I can't really say anything about it. But, like, Sydney Sweeney is super hot, but I don't know her comedic acting chops. And I know people think that comedy is easy. People think that, like, being funny is easy, but being funny is not. It's about, like, it's a dance, right? Like, it's like dancing. But with, like, you know, with words.
I completely agree.
There's a thing, right? And so, I don't know. Did you guys see No Hard Feelings?
Which one was that?
That's the Jennifer Lawrence one.
Oh no! Everyone's talking about it. I did not see it.
It's really good. I'm gonna be honest. Like, everybody was hating on it because of the subject matter. The subject matter is parents of a 19-year-old hire a woman in her 30s, early 30s, right, to date their son so he can get laid before he goes to college. Something like that. He's 18.
That's weird.
Or something. So it is a weird premise, but also, like, there are weirder premises out there for rom-coms. And what
if parents had hired a 30-something-year-old man to date their 18-year-old daughter? That's all I'm saying.
Yes.
I would not like that.
It can be flipped, but at the same time, I don't think society flips in the same way, right? Like,
no. I still find it weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that would definitely be weird.
But also, I haven't seen the movie. I have seen a lot of people on TikTok say that they judged the movie when they first heard about it. And then when it went on streaming, they finally watched it and they were like, oh, actually.
Right.
So I will say I can only judge so much. I haven't seen it. Yeah.
Sarah, have you seen it?
I haven't.
Okay. Basically.
I think my thing is I don't try to be like I'll catch it on streaming person, but it is genuinely difficult for me to get to the movies. And I feel like for me, the only thing I will pay to see at a movie theater is something that like a superhero movie where you're like, I want to see this in a movie theater.
Yeah.
Or again, a movie that my child drags me to. Right, that she wants to see.
But that's the thing, though, that, like, that's why the movie industry has been changing. There's not rom-coms for the big screen anymore because, truth be told, we have pretty big screens nowadays in people's living rooms, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you could just sit closer to the screen and you got a 4K screen. Like, you can do that. It doesn't really matter. Rom-coms are just maybe easier at home, too. Also, you can turn it off if you don't like it, right? Rom-coms are hit or miss. So the landscape is changing a little bit. But, like, rom-coms being just for Netflix or just for Hallmark is ruining the genre of rom-coms. I think the genre of rom-coms need to exist. But Hallmark has ruined
the same.
rom-coms.
Yeah. Those are not, like, when I think rom-com, I'm not, like, I feel like Hallmark's its own genre.
It is bad. Like,
and I don't like that style. Like, I like the classic rom-coms from, like, the early 2000s and
try out these freebie ones. Like,
I mean, I've seen a couple of them. Right? Honestly, Freevie's a fantastic service. Jury Duty was on Freevee and it's nominated for Emmys.
Jury Duty.
That show was amazing.
Yeah.
That totally caught me off guard. You know what movie I saw that in theaters that is a rom-com? I saw My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3.
Oh. Okay.
I thought it was fun.
Did that need a threequel?
Did it need a third? No, but do I love it? Yes. And also, like, that's the style of movie I like watching with my mom. Like, I love watching My Big Fat Greek Wedding. I love watching Mamma Mia. I love that kind of movie with my mom. And I was on vacation with my mom and we had a night when it was just like really rainy, but we wanted to get out of the hotel. And there was an AMC right near us. So I was like, all right, let's go see My Big Fat Greek Wedding 3. And she was like, yes. And we had a great time.
I have a question about Mamma Mia. Oh.
I was going to say, we saw Elemental's kind of like that's an enemies to
lovers. Oh, that was so good.
I loved Elemental.
I loved Elemental.
I thought it was good.
Oh, you thought it was okay?
I feel like the metaphor was a little heavy-handed at times. And the first 30 minutes, I was like, cool. So it's Zootopia, like beat for beat Zootopia. Like they go to the city planner's office, which is the exact same as the DMV, where they just have a guy who his thing is he talks really slow. I was like, if it wasn't, it's like beat for beat. But then it was like, okay, it started to become its own thing.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, I changed my tune on it. But of course,
I think
I saw it. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, Cailin.
Oh, I was just gonna say I saw it with my brand new roommate. Like she had literally moved in like that week, and we were like trying to get to know each other, and we decided to go see that, and we loved it.
My mom and I go to all the Pixar movies. It's just,
Pixar's a great time.
Yeah. I was afraid it wasn't going to make any money because it did horribly the first weekend, and then it popped back up, and then it stayed in theaters. And I think it was Disney. I think Disney chose to keep it in theaters for a little while and let it cook a little bit. Normally Disney cuts it and they just like pull it.
Yeah.
And they put them on streaming. But I think for this one they didn't. And
right.
I think it was important for this movie to stay out longer. This movie, sure, it's about race relations, but it's a layer of race relations, which is immigrant relations. It's like
right, which is so specific.
It's a very specific like layer to add on. It isn't just that two people of different races can get together. It's how the races view each other through the lens of like being immigrants to a new country,
especially like being the child of like the child who's born within the country versus the parents who immigrated here. And there's definitely that extra layer of that kid almost being caught between two worlds.
Yeah.
It was very interesting. I watched it with my mom and my daughter, and it's always fun watching movies with my mom because she has very clear experiences, and she is a first generation. I mean, her parents moved over when she was like 6, so I thought maybe, but I was talking to her and I was like, I feel like that metaphor was a little heavy-handed at times, and she was like, "What metaphor?" It's like, oh, never mind.
That's the problem. Like
she also fell asleep during Everything Ever All at Once.
Yeah.
Oh, that was a good one.
And she was like, I don't like the way it ended with the woman dying. And I was like, oh my God, you fell asleep halfway through the movie and you thought that was the end of the movie. So I'm like, okay, there's just certain movies that don't hit that for her. And I'm like, okay.
Right. I mean, same with my mom. Like my mom in different ways, but like I'm not judging your mom. But like it's kind of like when people are like when people watch a movie and they're like, why'd they have to make it so obvious? And it's because like some people, half the population, they need another refresher to make things click. And the other half is like, why are you pandering to them? So then it's just this like thing of
I heard that come up a lot with the Barbie movie. I mean, valid criticism of the Barbie movie was that it was feminism 101, which I think is completely valid.
Right.
But on the other hand, the movie was PG-13, so part of the target demographic was tweens and young teenage girls who haven't had feminism 101 yet.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of men walked into that movie clearly not having had the lesson, and this was their first lesson.
I was going to say, a lot of adults failed feminism 101.
A lot of adults have failed feminism 101, whether they're men or women. A lot of men needed that lesson again, and I had some male friends come away with like a new perspective having seen the movie, so it was a positive there. And I saw so many moms because I saw it so many times. I saw a lot of moms going with their young daughters, even like as young as 7 to see that movie. And I'm like, those are little girls who absolutely haven't had that lesson yet.
When I saw Barbie, one of the things for me is I love Ryan Gosling, and I've loved Ryan Gosling for a very long time. So the Gen Z kids that are saying
since Young Hercules,
all of them saying that he's not that hot. I was like, you haven't been there. You don't know.
Who's saying he's not hot?
Teenagers on the internet. But
teenagers are wrong.
I mean, in my opinion, Simu Liu is hotter than Ryan Gosling, and also
I would second that.
Kingsley Benadir.
Oh yeah. So here's my thing. I think
He's
that
Secret Invasion guy.
I think there are there are Kens that are more attractive than Ryan Gosling, but nobody is more charming than Ryan Gosling.
He is very charming.
There's moments in that movie, specifically during I'm sorry, this is my Ryan Gosling thing for a minute. When they're doing the I'm Not Ken dance, and at the very end of that dance, when they put the thing over his shoulders and he does the fight for me, that
oh yeah,
ooh. And then he does the like when they're doing the wave and he goes like ooh, like it's the little movements that he does. It's clear that he's having a great time. And I was concerned. I was like, did we make Ken too likable? Right? Is that a problem for the movie that I'm Just Ken is like one of my favorite songs of all time now, right?
Oh, same.
But then my daughter watched it, who is 7, and I asked her her favorite character was, and she said Weird Barbie. And I said, who's your least favorite character? And she said Ken. And I said, why? And she was like, he stole Barbie's house.
Yeah.
And tried to take over Barbie Land. And I was like, okay, I'm glad we didn't.
She got the correct lesson.
She
it's okay that we liked him because we already had the lesson.
Yeah.
But she had it, so it's great.
You guys know Ryan Gosling as Ryan Gosling.
Yes.
True.
Like, just like when a character plays a Nazi in a movie, don't simp for the Nazi. You can simp for the actor, right? Like, don't simp for the Nazi.
Sure.
It's kind of like that. And like,
yeah,
not that Ken in this is a Nazi. I'm just saying that like,
right. But it's like Homelander stands. It's like I think you could say he's an interesting character. I think you could say that the performance is great. I don't know if we should be watching thirst edits of him.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's my own opinion.
I don't even think Homelander's the hottest person in that show.
Who is the hottest person in that show?
Listen, I actually have something for Jack Quaid.
Oh, okay. I was afraid you were going to say Chase Crawford.
I think
because of Gossip Girl.
20-year-old me would have said that.
Yeah.
Back when I was watching Gossip Girl. I didn't watch that until college. But look, Chase Crawford is attractive, but Jack Quaid has that like boy next door look that I like. Yeah. Chase Crawford's too model.
He was good in Scream.
Who?
But was that the one that came out this year, or was that the one that came out last year? I don't remember.
I've only seen the first one.
The one that came out this year was the one like in the subway and the whatever.
Oh, yes.
Well, now that I know Jack Quaid is in one of the Scream movies, I gotta catch up on those.
Yes, he's in Scream. I guess it's 5.
Okay. What else? What else has Jack Quaid been in?
Well, I mean, he's Dennis Quaid's son.
Well, that I know. Him and Meg Ryan.
Jack Quaid voices the main character one of the main characters in Star Trek Lower Decks. So he does he's the voice for the animation, and they did a crossover episode. It was amazing. This is 2023, baby. This is all 2023. Star Trek Lower Decks is the animated, tongue-in-cheek but still in continuity Star Trek show, and then there's Star Trek Strange New Worlds, which is pre-Captain Kirk, though Captain Kirk does Kirk makes an appearance every couple, whatever. Anyway, they did a crossover, and they're in different time periods. They did a crossover where when they crossed over through a portal, Jack Quaid pops out as the live-action version of his animated character. And so they do a time travel thing where they bring in the animated characters into the real world. Mm-hmm. Not that they're animated in their world, but just, you know what I mean. Anyway, the point being is, it was super fun.
I just looked up his filmography. So guess what Jack Quaid's first movie was? Because I did not remember this.
Oh, he had to have been a small child.
In a Dennis Quaid
movie.
Oh.
I'm assuming. The movie was only 2012.
It
was the Hunger Games.
That was
Hunger Games. That's right.
The Hunger Games.
Yeah.
He also
keep talking about Jack Quaid. I'll be right back.
He was also in Across the Spider-Verse.
Who was he in Across the Spider-Verse?
He plays Gwen's Peter Parker that turns into Lizard.
Oh.
Right?
I think he does not have a very distinctive voice.
No.
So I would not recognize his voice in anything. But he was at a horror convention by my house, and I was like, why is Jack Quaid here? And then I was like, oh, he's in Scream. But also Charlie Cox was at the horror convention, and I was like, why is Charlie Cox here? That's why I went.
I want to meet Charlie Cox so badly. I love him so much. I just rewatched Stardust last night.
This is the achievement of my lifetime.
I love him so much. Sure. I can't. Daredevil is probably my favorite superhero project.
He was.
I know this is so not 2023, but I I love the movie Stardust. And I finally read the book. I highly recommend. It's on Amazon Prime for the next 2 days.
Oh, okay.
It literally first of all, if you like Neil Gaiman, watch Stardust. You'll like Stardust. It's very like Princess Bride. But I've seen that movie so many times, but I've never actually read a Neil Gaiman book despite loving adaptations of his work. So I just read the book a week ago, and then I was like, I want to rewatch the movie now. And I saw that it was only on Prime for the next week. So I watched it again last night, and my parents had never seen it. And it's just so much fun. Highly recommend. But Charlie Cox is the main character.
Yeah, I've read a lot of Neil Gaiman, which I don't know if we're going to talk about TV, but did you watch Good Omens?
Yes, I did.
Where does season 2 rank for you in your 2020?
I definitely like season 1 more. I feel like in general, the first season of things is usually the best. I enjoyed season 2, but I like season 1 more. But we also did get a lot more depth into their relationship and obviously that ending.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, we need a season 3.
It's confirmed. They renewed it.
Oh, thank God.
Yes, it's getting a season 3. I feel like a lot of the TV that happened in 2023 followed that path of like, it had a really good ending, but the season itself was inconsistent. I feel like Good Omens season 2, that was true.
Okay.
Where it was like an inconsistent season, but I really liked the ending. Loki, I felt the same way, where I was touch and go on different episodes, but I really liked the ending.
The ending is amazing.
Our Flag Means Death season 2 was the same thing.
Okay, so it's not just me that I'm struggling with season 2.
No. And
okay,
season
good.
2, they made the absolute bananas decision they released 3 episodes, and then 2 episodes, then 2 episodes, and then the finale. So something that could have been going on for 8 weeks went on for 4 weeks.
Oh.
So there were certain things where like a character leaves and then they're gone for the 10 minutes it takes for you to get up and refresh your drink and sit back down, and then the new episode starts with the character being back.
Right. I mean, that's my problem with that model, though. Like, any model other than once a week, I mean, we've been talking about it since the beginning. I mean, Sarah, like, WandaVision, like, the fact that WandaVision did so well is other than, like, I think the first 2 episodes, which I think needed to be released together. Otherwise, you were gonna peace out after that first episode, I think. But they did 1 episode a week.
I personally would have watched 9 episodes of that first episode. I love classic sitcoms.
Right.
But not everyone's a sitcom lover.
And it wasn't setting up the premise correctly. Like, the premise of the show wasn't that you would just see a new sitcom every single week. There's like a plot that needed to be pushed forward, you know?
Yeah.
But the memes, the theories, all that stuff relies on, like, the fandom relies on taking a week in between to talk about things.
Yeah.
That's my opinion about every TV show.
It's so interesting that Disney Plus is the one that's consistently doing that. I mean, I guess Echo's going to drop all at once. Has Echo already come out?
Echo has not already come out yet. It's on my list of like stuff we're going to be covering for next year. But like, they're going to drop the whole season. I don't know why. I'm a little upset.
That time, because that's what I'm saying is the shows that I'm talking about the most, right? Or that I saw the most about, Good Omens, Loki, Ahsoka, like all those shows. You went onto the internet for the following week and talked about it. Whereas like I mentioned at the beginning, Blue Eye Samurai, Scavenger's Reign, those are all ones that I'm like piecing my way through that are really good. But it's that thing of like, I would just want everything to be Game of Thrones again. Right. When I was on Game of Thrones and Succession and Last of Us, like those I have a little ritual, right? And the ritual is I watch it, I listen to a podcast that does a midnight immediate reaction, I wait a couple days, and then I listen to a 3-hour deep dive podcast, right? Like that's my little self-care ritual for the show that I'm super into. And when you release it in one giant chunk, I don't get a chance to do that. And
you don't get that hype. I mean, right now, my entire TikTok feed is just Percy Jackson.
Yeah.
That is my entire feed. And obviously I'm living for every second of it. And it's really funny to me seeing people like who have read the books talk about it. And then people who have not read the books like give their opinions. And I'm like, oh.
Just wait.
Yes, you will. Like everybody's like the one character that everyone who hasn't read the books is like picking as their favorite. I'm like,
well, have they seen the movie?
I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut.
I've seen the movie.
Nope.
No, I know. Nope. I know. I get that. I understand. Trust. I'm an Animorphs fan. Trust me when I know when live action adaptations ruin everybody's taste for it. Like
there are moments from the movie that I do love, and I do think Logan Lerman was right casting, wrong time.
What about Brandon T.
I actually really liked his portrayal of Grover. It was a very different portrayal of Grover, but I liked it.
Yeah.
I did love Pierce Brosnan as Chiron.
Yeah.
Kevin McKidd as Poseidon was a bit of a jump scare.
Wait, who?
Every time I remember that Kevin McKidd played Poseidon in that movie, it like freaks me out. Because I know him as Owen Hunt in Grey's Anatomy, and I just want that character to fall off a cliff, which they did. They did push him off a cliff, but he lived.
Grey's Anatomy is my favorite show to watch 60 seconds at a time on TikTok and then search for the rest of the episode.
That's what I do too. Yeah.
Love Grey's Anatomy. I watch it when that show is airing. I will literally go to my parents' house and watch it live. Like I make them watch it live with me because I love it. It's trash, but I love it. The poker, the casino scene in that movie is great.
Is it in the first one or the second one?
It's in the first movie. I forget they made the second one.
I only watched the first 15 minutes of the second movie. So
it's even worse.
Yeah. By the way, I want to shout out Aries13 on our Twitch chat. Aries, I think, was saying Butcher is the best looking person on The Boys, or the hottest guy, or whatever. And then
depends on your taste.
Yeah, I love Carl Urban. Is it Carl or Cal? Carl, right?
Carl. It's Carl.
Carl Urban, but I think he looks the best as McCoy in Star Trek. Like I like the clean shaven look, and I love his. Did you know that was him, right?
No.
He's so funny in it. Like he's such a character in that
movie. First of all, I'm not much of a Star Trek person, but I've seen like my dad likes Star Trek, so
Cailin,
I've seen
we gotta get you into
some
Star
of it.
Trek. Like
well, no, okay, here's the thing. My dad doesn't like new Star Trek, but Orville.
Okay, Orville's
love
great.
Orville.
But we're gonna deconstruct your dad after the show. But if for people who don't like new Star Trek but like old Star Trek, there is a new Star Trek that harkens back to the old, which is Strange New Worlds.
Or watch Orville.
Well, I already watched Orville. I'm
telling the other people.
Yes.
All I know
other people to watch Orville.
All I know about Strange New Worlds is there is a musical episode, and I'm like,
it is a legitimately.
I always love when there's a musical episode.
I don't like musicals, not so much. I've been in some. I like them by the sake of doing them, and I think a lot of like musicals, like numbers are not good. The first song in the Strange New Worlds musical episode, I literally watched it on loop. Like after I finished the episode, I went and I rewatched it because it starts off with Ethan Peck singing. I think that's the actor, Ethan Peck, singing the song, and it starts off with Spock realizing that he can't stop singing and that something is wrong with reality, because they merge it into the plot. Basically, the fundamentals of reality and probability are shifting to make everything a musical, and like you can't fight it, and it's going to spread. Like that's the plot of the episode. Like the musical virus, in a way, of reality breaking down is going to spread if they get into their like subspace relays. It's such a good episode. Everybody is hot in Strange New Worlds. Like
I just looked up the Spock actor and can confirm. It's hard to beat Zachary Quinto for me, but that's
this guy is the best looking Spock as far as like attractiveness. Because sadly, Leonard Nimoy, he's not an attractive man, you know.
Also, he's dead.
Well, I guess he's not attractive now.
Currently.
But like, and I don't think William Shatner's attractive. Like,
I definitely, looks wise, preferred Chris Pine to young William Shatner.
Of course.
But I'm also going to prefer Chris Pine to most people.
That's fair. Point is, a lot of great Star Trek stuff out right now. Out this
Yeah,
year.
maybe I'll watch Next Gen after I finish Star Trek's Next Generation.
Oh, okay. You're going that
That's
way.
my dad's favorite Star Trek. And I've seen like pieces of that here and there, just like my dad always having it on. For some reason it's on BBC, I think just because Patrick Stewart's British. Patrick Stewart's British, so it's always on BBC. They're constantly airing that show on BBC. I don't know. Maybe I'll watch that after I finish Modern Family.
Yeah.
Again. Because I'm always watching Modern Family.
Like, you should watch Happy Endings, but you know.
Oh, yeah. Let me put that on my. I literally have a little post-it here of shows I want to watch.
You will love Happy Endings. You will. It's cult classic, like, level.
I've actually watched some of these shows and haven't crossed them off. Happy Endings.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's at least on Hulu. I think it's on.
Okay. I have Hulu. Oh, you were starting to say about the Percy Jackson movie before I had a visceral reaction.
Well, that's all I've. So my only thing with Percy Jackson is I've seen the first movie and I've seen like the first 15 minutes of the second one and I just like pieced out. So then I'm watching the show and I'm going to buy the books in paperback because the paperbacks are like a lot cheaper. But I'm gonna start with reading the second book. That way I don't need to spoil because the show's I understand.
If you start, are you gonna wait until after the show's finished before you start reading the second book?
No, because I already know the plot of the first.
That's
movie.
right. Well,
you know what I mean.
So you know the big stuff, I guess.
Yeah, it's the big stuff. And
because here's the thing: the overall plot of the movie is actually very different than the overall plot of the book.
Okay. But what about the plot of the TV show? Like, we don't.
The TV show is following the book very closely.
So I'll watch the TV show for that, and I'll get ahead.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I would read the book of the first one too.
It's just gonna be
because there are certain things that are different, but
I don't want an origin story anymore.
That's fair.
I'm tired of origin stories.
That's fair.
Superhero ones too.
But I mean,
but Blue Beetle was very fun. I just watched
Blue Beetle was great.
And I was like, this is a fun. I think the difference between Blue Beetle and other, like, there's a lot of superhero fatigue. I know everybody talks about that.
Yeah.
But I think the key is you can have a story that's kind of samey, right? The superhero origin. I didn't think I would get powers, and now I have powers, right? But if your main character and supporting characters are very charming and charismatic, then it's fine.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole thing, is if you have bland, boring, like, characterization and people that you don't want to root for, it becomes really boring. I think
I felt
like
I hadn't seen him before.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love Blue Beetle. we did an episode on it. Like, I had the chance to meet the director and attend a Q&A. He didn't answer any questions from the audience. It was all questions that an interviewer asked him, but he mentions that there's an intentionality to everything. He purposely did not want to make another Spider-Man movie. Like, he knew that, like, going in, he didn't want to make it Spider-Man. Like, he knew that because he's from Puerto Rico, I think. And so he purposely put Hispanic characters with Hispanic crew, right? Like, everybody making these decisions and putting the time and the thought into it, we're Latino, right? And so, like, they wanted that. And the focus on family, I think, sets this movie apart from any other superhero movie.
Yeah. That was definitely one of my favorite things about the movie, was the inclusion of his family and them being involved within his superheroing very quickly. It's one of the reasons I loved the Ms. Marvel show, is how involved her family is.
And they're all real people. It's not just like dad, sister, grandma. Like, they're all like fully fledged characters kind of in their obviously don't have that much time to, flesh them out, but they all feel like
they had their distinct personalities that you could pick up on, and
as opposed to Quantumania with Scott's daughter, where the only line she had, it was the Rise of Skywalker syndrome, where they all they did was just make Finn yell Ray. I think like 90% of her dialogue in the movie was just her yelling Dad. And I was like, is that all you're gonna give this poor actress to do?
Yeah, I feel like I overall enjoyed that movie. I do obviously wish it had been better. One thing that I noticed, because I saw that movie with my parents, and it wasn't that long before the movie came out that my dad and I had finished reading this comic called Oblivion Song. And first of all, highly recommend Oblivion Song if you haven't read it.
Yeah, I haven't read it.
It's very good. It's by Robert Kirkman.
Wait, Oblivion is oh no. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's already been, I think it's potentially going to be adapted into a movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal, which would not be my first choice for that character, but that's besides the point.
Mm-hmm.
The comic is great and it's wrapped. It's 36 issues finished.
Wow, Robert Kirkman wrote something that was 36 issues and then finished?
36 issues and it's done.
It's shocking.
It's finished. Yeah. But we had finished reading that comic shortly before that movie came out, and the quantum realm was very reminiscent to my dad and I of Oblivion, which is the world within Oblivion Song. There was obviously elements of that movie that were very Star Wars, but the world to me was very Oblivion Song. That was like how I would imagine it looking in real life compared to the illustrations.
I know that before the show, I posed you guys a question with the 8 superhero movies that came out this year.
Right.
And I'm trying to figure out my rankings because I can figure out my top 3 and like roughly my bottom 3. But basically, and not all of us have seen all 8, but I've luckily seen all 8, so I have my opinions. But the 6 superhero movies, we're looking at DC and Marvel. We're not including Ninja Turtles. It is Quantumania, Shazam 2, Guardians 3, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, Flash, Blue Beetle, The Marvels, and Aquaman. Aquaman 2. And so the question that I really do want to know is how you would rank them in order, because I have a follow-up question after we're all done with talking about this, because there is something that people have been talking about for a while, and that is superhero fatigue. I'm not going to touch that for right now. We're going to push that after the thing, because I have my opinions about it. But like, I'm trying to figure out my rankings, but I don't know if either of you have yours.
I have mine.
Yeah, let's talk
my
about
6 out of the 8 that I've actually seen.
Yeah. So which were the 2 that you did not see?
I haven't seen Flash. I don't know if I ever will for reasons that I think are obvious. Aquaman, I just haven't seen yet. I want to see it. I don't know if I'm going to get around to seeing it in theaters, but I do plan on seeing that movie eventually.
Okay.
But of the other 6, this was a hard choice to pick between my top 2, but ultimately for the heartstrings that it pulled, Guardians 3
is your number 1?
Is my number 1.
Yeah.
That movie was just wonderful. And I think it was a perfect conclusion to that trilogy. Across the Spider-Verse is my number 2. But like I said, that was a hard choice between those 2. I would say the Marvels was my 3rd choice. I really enjoyed the Marvels.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah.
I liked that team. I like all 3 of those characters, but I liked the 3 of them together. I personally just really love Ms. Marvel. I liked that it was actually kind of a concise movie. Like, as much as I love superhero movies, sometimes they feel very long, and I liked that this one, it wasn't too long. It was less than 2 hours, but it also didn't feel too short.
Yeah.
Blue Beetle, I would say, is number 4.
Okay.
Ant-Man, and then Shazam. But okay. I enjoyed all 6.
Yeah. Well,
like, Shazam, obviously, I wanted more, especially since I loved the first one so much, but I liked all 6 of these movies, regardless of ranking.
I liked. Okay, no.
I think my opinion matters the least because I've seen the fewest of these.
How many have you seen?
I've only seen the 10 minutes of The Flash that you made me watch.
I didn't make you watch.
You did. I'm sorry. You did ask.
Yes, I didn't force it.
We were watching a breakdown of how bad something was, and you were like, "Let's just watch the last 10 minutes so that this video."
Oh, we were watching it was Corridor Crew. They were talking about bad special effects in movies, and they touched on The Flash. And you mentioned you hadn't seen it, so I was like, I could literally show you the last 10 minutes of the movie on Max right now.
Yeah, so I watched that.
It was consensual.
It was. I haven't seen Aquaman, but I also haven't seen the first Aquaman, and I have truly no desire at all to. Okay. Same with Shazam. I watched the first one and it was okay. I had no desire to see the second one. I haven't seen the Marvels. I want to see the Marvels, but it's one of those things where we were so busy during that time that I couldn't get to the movies, and then by the time I did have some time, it was gone. And then what's the other one?
Guardians.
Blue Beetle.
Oh yeah, I saw Guardians, Blue Beetle, Cross the
Spider-Man, and Ant-Man.
So I think I saw 4 out of the 8.
You saw Ant-Man?
I saw Ant-Man, yeah.
Okay. So out of those 4 then?
So out of those 4, it's Spider-Verse, number 1. Uh-huh. I'm sorry, I saw 5. So it's Spider-Verse. And I think it's not that close for me. Spider-Verse for me, but I also like it was always kind of gonna be. Yeah. I think Spider-Verse is number 1, and then it's Guardians, and then it's Blue Beetle, and then it's Quantumania.
Okay.
And then it's the 10 minutes of The Flash that I saw. I did not enjoy the experience of watching Quantumania at all. I'm definitely a hater on Quantumania. I did not.
Oh no.
It was a similar feeling to that I had of Multiverse of Madness, except I saw Multiverse of Madness the first time like super close to I had a bad seat, and I was like, maybe if I see it in IMAX in a good seat, and then I saw it in IMAX in a good seat, and I was like, no, that didn't help. But with Quantumania, I was like, I don't have any desire to ever watch that again. But with Guardians, it was like, I don't have a desire to watch that again because it emotionally destroyed me.
Yeah.
And not in a way that I enjoy. Like, I enjoy being emotionally destroyed. Like, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is one of my favorite movies, and it makes me cry every time. And like every time I'm watching it, I'm like, why did I do this to myself? So maybe it'll become that eventually. But yeah, it's Spider-Verse, Guardians, Blue Beetle, Quantumania, Flash.
I'm definitely a Multiverse of Madness apologist.
Are you?
Yes, I liked it.
I mean,
but I also just like Wanda.
Here's the thing, though.
Here's the thing. I liked it more than Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange, I have no desire to watch again. I just found that movie boring.
Is the worst MCU movie, in my opinion. Like, I will not.
I would say the Hulk is the worst, but Doctor Strange is a close second.
What's the worst?
The Hulk, the Incredible Hulk.
No, I can rewatch.
I saw that movie finally. That was obviously up until like I finally started watching Marvel movies in theaters. That was the last movie I finally like saw for the first time, and I was like, I don't need to see this again. And it wasn't like. I just didn't like it. I didn't like it.
I
also just don't love Ed Norton.
Okay, despite me saying I don't like rom-coms, I am a very sappy romantic person. So for me, the I love you in every universe fell so flat for me because I think I had either just watched Everything Everywhere All at Once or I was about to just watch it, where he says in another universe I would love to just be doing laundry and taxes with you, which is like a gazillion times better. And then Guardians 3 has I Bet We Were Fun, which is also so good. Like, everyone talks about the rocket stuff, but when Gamora says I bet we were fun to him, that was like a dagger through my heart. Like, I started weeping.
There were so many points where I started crying in that movie.
You're hitting me. You're hitting me.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get to my list, but like, Multiverse of Madness was better than the first Doctor Strange, but like, I like Quantumania better than Multiverse of Madness.
Why do I have?
And I saw in IMAX.
I don't do IMAX.
What's up?
I don't do IMAX.
You don't like IMAX? Like,
I can't do IMAX. It gives me a headache.
Oh, okay.
I also was very mad at Quantumania because they cast William Jackson Harper and then kind of wasted him. When people said William Jackson Harper was going to be in the MCU, I was like, Reed Richards.
Everybody was
and
sick.
then he was just no name Mick Facey.
Yeah.
Who like wasn't anybody.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not know the actor's name. Love him.
Yeah. Here are my 8 because I've seen all of them, and I'll give a quick thing. Aries 13 says also not a fan of the Incredible Hulk, and Aries 13 also says shout out Pedro Pascal. Has that been officially announced?
No.
It's still not official. Okay.
I thought it was.
It's not official.
The headline made it seem like he was, but the actual article says final talks, still a lot to work out. Like, we also haven't really talked a lot about TV shows, but
yeah,
The Last of Us is my favorite TV show. Okay, go ahead.
Oh yes.
We'll
that destroyed me.
We'll try to fit in some TV shows too, because you're right, we should.
We also haven't talked about the most important movie of the year, but we can get to that in a sec.
Which is what?
Trolls 3.
Taylor Swift.
Number 1 is Guardians of the Galaxy 3. 2 is Across the Spider-Verse. I just thought that Guardians closes it up better than Spider-Verse keeping it open. The point of the movie, I get it. That's the point of each movie, right? Number 3 is Blue Beetle for me.
Okay.
And this was an easy 3. These were my easy top 3. My bottom 2, 7 and 8, Aquaman 2 and The Flash. That's why technically you don't have to see it, Cailin. Like you don't. The Flash is the worst.
I almost saw Flash. I wholly believe you. The only reason I would have seen it was I actually went to go see it because one of my friends got like an early screening ticket.
Yeah.
But it turns out they gave out more early screening tickets than they actually had seats for. So we didn't get into the theater. So instead we just kind of wandered the mall and bought Legos.
Yeah.
Actually, it is because I didn't see Flash that I finally got into Legos because I was not into Legos at that point.
This is the timeline you were supposed to be a part of, you know?
It was the timeline I was supposed to be a part of because I bought my first Lego set and I was like, and it took me like 10 minutes and I was like, I need more.
Is it Guardians Volume 3?
Star-Lord. Yeah, the Guardians Volume 3.
Okay, yeah.
It's Star-Lord and Groot. And I bought this at the Lego store when I was with my friend not seeing Flash. And now I'm obsessed. I'm currently working on the final battle from No Way Home, and I'm so excited. I got a Batmobile or a Batbike for Christmas as well.
All right.
I'm working on I'm working on the Daily Bugle right now.
I got the Daily Bugle also, and I have not built it. Well, I bought it for myself.
I want that, but I don't know where I would put it, and how I can justify spending that money.
Here's how bad my Lego addiction is. I had $75 in rewards points. So I got $75 off, but that speaks to how much money I've spent on Legos.
Well,
if I take this green screen down, you will see all the Legos behind me, but my room's not clean.
Good.
So, you know.
Some of my Legos I've gotten either discounted or for free because my friend's fiance actually works for Lego corporate. What? And yeah, my friend's fiance. My friend's fiance is Mr. Lego. And I have used his employee discount.
That's cool.
And also they very kindly gave me like my Baby Yoda set over the summer that I was so excited about. I wanted that so bad.
Just real quick, the middle 3 that I had which is Marvel, Shazam 2, and Quantumania. I mean they're very close to each other, but I would say Marvel's is probably 4, and then Shazam 2 and Quantumania are a tie. I can't figure out which one I like more or less, because both have very redeeming qualities. Like Paul Rudd and Jonathan Majors. Why was I forgetting his name?
We're trying to forget his name and move on.
I get it. What an upset, though. What an upset. And it's for me watching him in Lovecraft Country. It's a lot of like, you were supposed to be the chosen one. It's a lot of that. It's not me saying he's good. It's me saying you were supposed to be better than good. You were supposed to be great.
He's a great actor, and he's in all these fantastic projects Creed with so much potential
too, which was
right
amazing.
And he's got this potential laid out for him.
Yeah.
And he destroyed his own future. It's
From
entirely on him, and he's getting what he deserves.
From everything that I know about it, this is an example of a man who needed therapy. Because everything he would talk about, like,
most people need therapy.
No, I know, but like, there's needing therapy, which I think is a general thing that everybody needs someone to talk to. Everyone needs somebody who is separate than them to work through, unravel what's going on. And then there's people who like need therapy. It's not a dig at him per se, but the way he was treating his girlfriend and the way that he viewed his own potential and his own future, like, is both like narcissistic and insecure, like it's so many things.
But I just hope she's okay.
Yeah.
And that he doesn't do it again to anyone.
Yeah. Megan Good is with him, so we'll see. Megan Good sticking by her man. So
wait, no.
Megan Good is his current girlfriend.
Oh, I like her.
Yeah. But
I did not know that.
Yeah. I'm just, yeah. Anyway,
girl, get out of that.
Let's talk about TV shows. Worst superhero TV show that I experienced was Secret Invasion.
I never finished.
It is.
You also showed me the last 10 minutes of that.
I do need to watch the last 10 minutes of that for the purposes of MCU overall world, but I will not be watching.
It doesn't affect anything.
I thought the whole thing, didn't she like inject herself and she gets all the powers?
Yeah, but it doesn't affect anything.
Doesn't mean anything.
Isn't that going to be important moving forward?
No.
No? Okay, cool.
I'm not watching the Marvels, and Nick Fury is in the Marvels.
I think I watched the first 2, maybe 3 episodes, and it was just some of the worst things I have never not finished a Marvel project.
I think it's because
this is the first time I've ever just been like, nope.
I don't think superhero fatigue is real per se. I think it's about capitalism, and I think it's about them trying to trim the fat and try to print money. But you can't print money with art, right? You have to actually put time and effort into art, cutting down the amount of writers, doing what I think is AI. I think the Secret Invasion script was written by AI first. That's my opinion. So, I that's my thing. I don't think superhero fatigue is real. I think that the studios aren't trying anymore. That's their fatigue. Fatigue's on their side.
I think it's a similar thing to Star Wars, what's happening with Star Wars, where it's like the people yearn for character development. We don't want the coolest thing happening. We don't want the coolest spaceship, although the coolest spaceship is a bonus. What you want is the character development, and that's why projects like I have to keep reminding myself that The Mandalorian season 3 came out this year, because they took what was good, which is the characters, and were like, we want stuff. Here's Mandalore. Here's this. Here's the Darksaber. This guy's back.
Here's
and I'm like,
Lizzo.
But give us, I thought Lizzo was a phenomenal.
I loved her, and I'm sad about everything that's happened since.
But it's that thing where it's like, that's why the Last of Us was so good, right? Because it was about the characters, like the amount of the amount of mushroom people in The Last of Us versus the amount of character development we got. Like, it's not about the superpowers. It's about the people with the superpowers, right? That's why everyone loves Spider-Man so much, because Spider-Man as a character is such an endearing person, right? And I think that's kind of why things like The Flash and things like, it's Aquaman, maybe, I don't know, or Shazam is like, I don't care about Shazam, right? I don't care about the lady who injected herself and has all the superpowers, right? Like, if I am going to care about a show, I have to care, I care about Ellie so much,
right?
Like, every day. But we
had more character development in that 3rd episode of The Last of Us, with 2 characters we never saw before and never saw again than we did in entire seasons of some shows.
I would argue, though, that it's easy to write a character development over one episode.
I don't care. It was amazing.
No, it's great. It's great.
It made me sob like a baby.
Yeah. But I mean, the whole thing, like with Ahsoka, where it's like Ezra finds out that they built the thing to come and get him, and now could possibly be bringing Thrawn back to the universe, the thing he sacrificed himself to do. We get to like that conversation, how we got here, happens off screen, right? Like, Sabine is tough. She fights. That's it, right?
Ahsoka was a letdown. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I, as a Rebels, fanatic, loved it. The costumes were amazing. Obviously, I spent a lot of time making a Sabine costume. But it was, the thing that you love about Rebels is the way this crew is a family, and the character development in that show is so good. So they lost the plot on the character development, I think, in Ahsoka and in The Mandalorian, right? Like, we care about the relationship of Din and Grogu, right?
Right.
That's what we care about. Why are we learning the lore on the Darksaber?
I mean, at the end of the day, I enjoyed Mandalorian season 3, but it definitely wasn't my favorite season.
Yeah.
I was just kind of it got to a point where I was just like, I'm just happy to see Grogu in any capacity, because he's like, I think, my ultimate comfort character. I have him in every aspect of my life, everywhere, and I'm fully planning a tattoo of him. But
I have it.
Oh, show me.
It's on my leg.
Okay, show me later.
Okay.
But like, I've done like a little sketch. Like, I fully plan to get a Grogu tattoo because I love him so much. But I definitely wanted, season 3 was fun, but I wanted more.
Yeah. What are you guys watching right now? I'm watching
Percy
Jackson, What If, and Monarch: Legacy of Monsters. I think those are my 3 right now.
I've only seen the first 3 episodes of What If because I'm watching it with my roommate. So I've seen up until Die Hard, Happy Hogan.
Oh, okay. I have my thoughts.
I didn't love the first episode. I found The second one was better, the one where it was young Star-Lord. I absolutely loved the Happy Hogan one, mostly because I had literally just rewatched Die Hard like the night before, and so my roommate and I were dying.
Yeah.
We thought that's what I want out of What If, is like the weird, quirky stuff. Personally, that's what I want. Because I'm already watching like the world-ending chaos within the actual MCU. When it comes to What If, I want something that's a lot more lighthearted and goofy.
You'll like some of the later episodes, but
okay.
But
I probably won't get to that until sometime this week because my roommate doesn't. Now that I'm back, my roommate's gone, and so she won't be back until sometime next week.
There's a Hela-centric episode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. My problem with What If right now is the fact that a lot of these episodes shouldn't be alternate timelines. Like in comic book logic, these episodes could have just the plots of these episodes could have just happened in the normal timeline. Like, we don't need a What If, like that Happy Hogan Die Hard episode could have just been a main story, just an untold story of what is in the MCU.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe one time Happy Hogan got the Hulk serum accidentally and now he's fine. Like, we just never saw it because it didn't ever factor into the movies. This is an old untold story about Justin Hammer breaking into Avengers Tower. Why does that necessitate an alternate timeline? And
that's a good point.
Same goes with, there's a Native American episode that everybody is ranting and raving about, and it is really good. But also, why did that have to it doesn't exist in the regular timeline, it needs to exist in the alternate timeline? It could have just existed.
I didn't really like What If season 1 very much, so it's definitely very low on my to-do list.
Yeah.
It's low on my ranking as well, personally. But
and they release it every single day, which I think is a horrible, horrible release
Agree.
Schedule, like
week by week.
Or even if they did it a binge, like even if they release, I would rather the binge than once a day.
Yeah.
What is the point?
Well, by the time I get to it, it's going to be a binge.
Right. But like, I don't know. Anyway,
yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any final thoughts about like everything? This year, doing one episode for a whole year. I mean, there's gonna be things that we don't get to, but like,
I mean, I feel like I could definitely do a recap of children's movies of the year. Nimona is one of my favorite movies that came out this year. I feel like not a lot of people have talked about it, but Nimona
I've never heard of that.
So good. It's on Netflix. It is based on a comic book by N.D. Stevenson, and it's so good. It's so good. My daughter saw Wish, not with me, so I didn't have to see Wish. But I heard it was largely forgettable. Trolls 3. The only thing I will say about Trolls 3, I did not like it. But I really like Trolls 2. But I will say about Trolls 3, the internet seems to really like it, and good for them. My daughter really liked it. But it is sibling propaganda. So I will say, if there's any parents listening out there in the ether, if you have an only child, like the entirety of the movie revolves around Branch and his secret brothers, and then another character gets a secret sister, and it's very much like your life is not complete unless you have a sibling. And my daughter is an only child, so it was a tough talk after the movie, which was a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of TV shows this year were kind of like, okay. Like they were good, it was kind of a mixed bag. But The Last of Us, I think we need to not forget what a masterpiece The Last of Us was.
Oh, so good.
Talking about an only child. Am I right?
So good. Yeah, the only child. Also Invincible, the first half of the second season of Invincible.
I just finished that today.
Fantastic. I really liked Gen V. I thought Gen V was really good. I was
pleasantly
surprised by Gen V.
Or at least
I liked
it.
You should watch it. You should watch it.
Oh, I'm scared.
Why?
It was good.
I will say it's a little gorier, I think, than Normal Boys, mostly because one of the girls is a hemokinetic. But it's worth it because it's so good.
Okay.
I don't know. No, there's not as much. Yeah, the head explodes. I think the goriness is not the goriness that you don't like, Dimithri. So I think you might be okay with it.
That's true. There's not as much head exploding. There's a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Because of her.
That's like the source of one girl's power.
Queasy, but it's all right. I'll figure it out.
And then I think that I'm trying to work my way through Blue Eye Samurai, which is genuinely a really good show. It's just, the binging is hard for me these days when I'm trying to. I have a convention in 5 days and I need to sew a giant dragon tail.
Yeah.
For that, which I guess I'll do tonight. And then I would say give Saltburn a chance. Don't watch it with your parents. Watch it alone. Jacob Elordi is genuinely he's the one to watch. I feel like if anybody won 2023,
well, I was about to say, is there anyone?
I think Ariana Greenblatt won it for me. She's in Barbie. She's the daughter in Barbie. She's also young Ahsoka, which she freaking killed that.
She's also young.
She did amazing. She's also young Gamora.
She's one to watch.
Jacob Elordi was in Priscilla, and then he would. I mean, his character in Saltburn is someone who his whole deal is that everybody loves him, and I'm like, yeah,
that makes sense.
That's the aura that he has. He's one of those guys.
Did he just play Elvis?
He did, and I think he said in an interview that all he knew of Elvis was from Lilo and Stitch.
Yes.
And he did a better job than Austin Butler. But he's gonna be in a movie in 2024 with Zachary Quinto, and I don't know what I'm gonna do.
That might make my brain implode.
Yeah, but him and the chemistry he had with Barry Keoghan and Saltburn, I would say give I'm gonna get a tattoo on my chest that just says "Give Saltburn a chance." I think Saltburn. I'm Team Saltburn forever. I know we have a mutual friend, Dom, watched it like 5 times in the theaters. And at first I was seeing her joy of watching it and then everyone else's reaction and being like, what's wrong with you? But then I watched it and I was like, I'm a you person. Or I'm like, I wanted to watch it again immediately after I saw it. So.
Okay. Dungeons and Dragons Honor Among Thieves I thought was very good. Yes. Very enjoyable. I want to see more of it. I thought I should mention that.
I completely agree. I was a big fan of the Taylor Swift movie. I saw that in theaters twice.
I mean, I saw her in concert, so.
You know what? I didn't ask.
I'm not a Taylor Swift fan until a man in a room says he hates Taylor Swift, and then I'm Taylor Swift's #1 defender.
I love that for you so much. I have not seen Taylor Swift in concert ever, despite being a fan since debut. I want to attempt to see her in 2024. We're gonna see if that's gonna happen. Probably not, because I'm already asking for 14 days off this year, starting January 2nd.
I wish you the best.
And I only have like 6 days to play with from there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. No, 7. I have 7 days to play with from there. Well, we're gonna see what I can make work.
Plenty of time.
Okay.
I'm lucky. I do get a lot of PTO, but I'm already asking for 14 days off the bat for cons, weddings, and vacation.
Looks like 2024 is going to be busier for all of us. So
yeah.
I'm very thankful that both of you were able to take time out of your day to talk about the best of 2023. You know, the year is coming to a close. You know, it's right now, as of recording this is December 30th, 2023. So unless something huge happens on the 31st, this is pretty much it for pop culture. Can you imagine though? What if something happens tomorrow that's just like,
I mean, that's what happened 2 years ago.
What happened on the 31st?
Well, on the 31st, first of all, they had already done the in memoriam for the past year by this point. Betty White died? And then Betty White died.
That's right.
And we were all gearing up for her 100th birthday. It was like less than 3 weeks before her 100th birthday. It was going to be this big thing. They were going to have this thing in the theaters, and then she died.
Yeah.
And then I got to tell my grandma she outlived Betty White. My grandma died last year at 101, and I was like, you outlived the Queen of England and Betty White. She was 101 years old.
Good for her.
Crushing it.
That's amazing.
She should have gotten a Dalmatian for each year that she was alive.
I agree.
My grandpa outlived Betty White and the Queen, but he only outlived the Queen by a little bit.
Hey, that counts.
As in they fought to the death and he died?
No,
afterwards.
as in like my grandpa died like 2 months after the Queen.
I just think it'd be funny that your grandpa fought the Queen to the death.
I think my grandpa could have totally taken the Queen in a fight.
You know,
I think he could have taken her in a fight easily.
Good. I think so too.
Although they were both military members, so they both, were valiant members of service to their country.
Yeah.
My grandmother wasn't in the military, but she was in Europe during World War II, and she did once punch her boyfriend in the face when she found out he was a Nazi.
Good for her.
Punch.
Okay, love your grandma.
She's amazing.
If there's anything I want to leave in the past, it's the British royalty. So get out of here.
I want to leave. You know what I want to leave in 2023? We're doing ins and outs. Yeah. I want to leave 6-episode TV shows. Why are TV shows 6 episodes?
Yeah.
10 episodes in 2024. # 10 episodes in 2024. Let's make TV shows 10 episodes long again, at least.
Give TV shows full writers' rooms. Give them room to breathe. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's,
That's why I still watch procedurals, because procedurals get like 20 episodes a season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I still watch 911, 911 Lone Star. Unfortunately, Station 19 is ending after this next season, but Grey's Anatomy is still going strong. They're currently.
I was gonna say when you mentioned Grey's Anatomy earlier and said when it was on, I was like, oh, like in reruns, and I was like, is Grey's Anatomy still on?
Oh no, they're currently filming season 20.
Good for them.
And I watch it live. I go over to my parents' house, and at 8 o'clock we watch Station 19, and then at 9 we watch Grey's Anatomy.
There you go. thank you both of you so much for coming on here and reminiscing about this year. Before we get going, what do you got coming up? Where can we find you? Anything you want to plug, Sarah?
You can find me on Instagram and TikTok. We've got Anime Los Angeles coming up this weekend. So we're doing the kids cosplay contest again, and debuting 2 new cosplays, including a Five Nights at Freddy's cosplay somehow that a group just asked us to be a part of it. Please don't talk to us about Five Nights at Freddy's. We have no idea what's going on. As for big builds of the year, I don't know yet. I don't know what our big one was Hera and Sabine. That is now done. I have to just do the repairs to Sabine from running around a lot. But I think we're gonna do more Mandalorians going into 2024. So
very cool. I'm looking forward to it. And I always see you in general, but then I'll always see you at cons. So it's always nice. Cailin.
You can find me also on Instagram and TikTok. As far as cons go, I only have tickets so far to C2E2, but New York Comic Con and Terrificon are definitely going to happen. I'm kind of hoping to maybe find some other local cons that I can do like a day here or there. As far as cosplay goes, I don't want to. First of all, I have all like the characters I really love already. So my build plans are potentially make some minor upgrades to some of my existing cosplays. And then I really want to work on my sewing skills. I'm very new to sewing, and my Nightwing suit, I did sewing on it, but like I didn't build it from the ground up. And so I kind of want to learn to sew more and really build something. And my 2 plans are to make Rapunzel's dress. She's my favorite princess. And I want to make Feyre's Starfall dress from ACOTAR. So those are my 2 big plans. And I don't have a goal like timeline wise. I just want to learn more sewing and slowly kind of build those. Obviously, I'm going to need to make like a dress form that fits my body. Yeah. The other thing I want to do is I want to make Taylor Swift's Lover bodysuit, but like a Spider-Man one.
I don't know.
But I don't know if I want to do classic Peter Parker Spidey Lover suit, or do I want to do a version of the Lover suit as my own original Spidey that I made this past year?
I think you should do an original Spidey. That is a problem I ran into with my daughter. Is we made our own original Mandalorians based on Encanto, and then we watched Across the Spider-Verse, and she was like, "Can I make my own Spider-Man?" And I was like, "Yes, you can."
I mean, I did as I started planning my own original Spider-Sona right around the time Across the Spider-Verse came out. I hadn't seen Across the Spider-Verse yet because I was in Italy when the movie came out. So I didn't see it until I came back. But at New York Comic Con this year, I debuted my own original Spider character, Midnight Spider, which is inspired by Taylor Swift. So I'm toying with making like a Lover bodysuit version of that.
All right.
And I think that would be fun to bedazzle.
I'm looking forward to what both you two make for next year. Because again, I foresee good things, exciting things. So here's putting it out there for 2024. For anyone out there who is watching and or listening, you're watching us on twitch.tv/The Keeg Show, youtube.com/The Keeg Show, or you're listening to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts from, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, SoundCloud, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Now, this is the final episode of Season 9. This is Season 9, Episode 32 of the Keeg Talks, the Keeg Talks Best of 2023. But we have 3 shows next year, at least 3. We got Keeg Talks, which is like every weekend, sometimes twice a weekend, depending on what we got to talk about. So that's our ongoing podcast, the Keeg Talks on weekends. We're going to be talking about coming in 2024. That's our next episode. I don't know when that is. That is Saturday, January 6th. And then we're talking about What If Season 2 on Sunday, January 7th. We also got Comic Talk every Thursday night, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about that week's new comic book releases. And then we also have a new monthly show that we're doing called State of X, where we're going to do a monthly show just talking about X-Men. It's like an X-Men catch-up. All the comics that came out that month, we'll just talk about it, where X-Men is at that moment. So if you're an X-Men fan, but you can't keep up, but, you might as well, listen to a monthly show that we're going to do. to stay involved with what X-Men has to offer, you know? And then maybe we bring back the after shows for next year, but we'll see how that goes. So we got a lot planned, and the cons, and the keegshow.com. It is old and new again, you know? It went on hiatus for a while. It was under construction, and now it's back up and, you know, rolling. So if you like websites and articles, check out thekeegshow.com. Check us out on TikTok and Instagram at The Keeg Show. We're also on Facebook, Threads, all that stuff at The Keeg Show / The Keeg Show, all over social media. So, you know, check us out there. Other than that, yes, thank you, Sara, so much. Thank you, Cailin, so much. Thank you to Aries13 out there in the chat, keeping us company. Aries13 also said Happy New Year, and Happy New Year to you too. That's pretty much it. Once again, I'm your host, Dimithri Perera, and this has been the Keeg Talks Best of 2023. See you guys next time. Happy New Year. See you guys next year. Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.